My values and beliefs regarding education have been developing since the age of 9, when I first stepped foot into a primary classroom to assist younger students. Coming from a family of unique primary school teachers, I have had the opportunity to develop my educational philosophy. Education is essentially the growth of students, socially, emotionally, physically, and academically. As Nell Nutting states, education is a constellation of encounters, both planned and unplanned, that promote growth through acquisition of knowledge, skills, understanding, and appreciation. In my classroom, the purpose of every lesson I teach as a social constructivist educator will be to give students the opportunity to grow and develop through collaborative learning. These lessons will be based upon the Australian curriculum. The planned encounters, to ensure that students are gaining the knowledge that they need to progress through their education. An array of knowledge is also gained from the hidden curriculum, the butterfly effect of education through social learning and the understanding of society, culture, and values. I understand that the students in my class are heterogeneous and that I will never come across two students that are exactly the same. In order to reject functionalist ideologies, I will operate within a transformative classroom that will allow children to embrace their differences, unlike in the past. In the words of Paulo Freire, looking at the past must only be a means of understanding more clearly what and who they are so that they can more wisely build the future. As discussed in Gardner's Multiple Intelligences, students can learn in a variety of different ways. For example, students could be kinesthetic, linguistic, or logical learners, or they could learn in an entirely different way. In order to ensure that all of my students are engaged and are being provided with unique learning opportunities, I will differentiate between students and recognise their differences, strengths, and weaknesses in order to build them an individual learning path. I am working towards the rejection of stereotypes and mythical norms to ensure that every single student in my class feels valued and included. Although my students will be diverse, they all have one thing in common. Could everyone please have a look at the cards on your desk and read aloud whatever your card says? Every student in my class will have the right to feel included, valued, and celebrated. I am an advocate and strong believer in social justice and equality, and I believe that it should be a primary aim of education. In my teaching approach, I will recognise and consider the social and cultural diversity of not only my students, but also their families. In order to ensure inclusion of all students within my classroom, I will organise activities that embrace their culture and interests, such as a world map of all the different cultures, a class-made board of all of the religions in the class, or possibly a board where students can express their hobbies, interests, and strengths and weaknesses. Another crucial aspect of my teaching philosophy is developing the whole child, socially, academically, and emotionally. In order to do this, I will get to know my students and build strong, respectful relationships in order to create meaningful connections to the content in which we learn. I believe it is also essential to understand the child and what they face outside of school, in order to develop understanding of the students as individuals. A quote from Gandhi, "A teacher who establishes rapport with the taught becomes one with them, learns more from them than he teaches them," also resonates with my philosophy, as I view myself as a lifelong learner who can draw knowledge from my students just as much as they can gain it from me. As a teacher and an agent of socialisation, I believe it is also my responsibility to teach and develop the cultural capital that students will need to succeed in their education and social life. As Albert Einstein once said, "It is the supreme art of the teacher to awaken joy in creative expression and knowledge." I will strive to ensure creativity and innovation in my teaching. My students will be engaged in their learning by participating in activities that are exciting and allow them to express their skills and interests. I believe strongly that the lessons that students will remember are those that they had fun and enjoyed themselves, rather than those that they felt bored and disengaged. Similarly, John Dewey agreed that the best way for students to absorb information is through a hands-on learning approach. Give the pupils something to do, not something to learn, and the doing is of such nature as to demand thinking. Learning naturally results. In my classroom, I will ensure that I use a wide variety of texts from different cultures and backgrounds to ensure that all of my students in my class feel included and valued. As a post-structuralist educator, I will make sure to promote a transformative society while still recognising and validating some traditional values and beliefs through analysing particular texts that reiterate that mythical norms are not normal and that stereotypes are not necessarily the truth. I'm going to construct a classroom where differences are promoted and celebrated to create a respectful and engaging atmosphere where students feel warm and safe so that they can develop as risk takers. John Dewey's quote, "If we teach today's students as we taught yesterday's, we rob them of tomorrow," is consistent with my philosophy of a transformative, exciting, hands-on and inclusive classroom. As teachers, we have the power to change the world, one student at a time.